Let us start today's important news. Uttarakhand avalanche. The army and authorities of Shamoli district in Uttarakhand rescued 32 people out of 57 BRO workers, Border Roads Organizations workers, who were trapped under snowfall after an avalanche hit the high altitude village in Shamoli district. The rescue and relief operations were impeded by incessant rains, bad weather, and snowfall. The avalanche in Uttarakhand buried a camp of Border Roads Organization between Mana and Badrinath. 57 people were buried under the snow. 33 have been rescued so far. Mana is situated 3 kilometers from the holy site of Badrinath. Badrinath is a key religious spot. Mana is the last village in a India-Tibet border at a height of 3000 meters. After the avalanche, the road leading to the accident site was blocked due to snow and rain. Multiple teams of rescuers battled tough terrain, heavy snow and rain to reach the trapped workers. Uttarakhand CM Mr. Pushkar Singh Dhami said helicopters could not be pressed into the rescue operations because of bad weather. So, even till now, many BRO workers are under a snow trap. They were stuck. Mostly, some of them might have died in Uttarakhand avalanche in Shamoli district, almost India-Tibet border village. Next, Bangladesh government started historical revisionism. The Bangladesh new interim government started rewriting textbooks. 40 crore new textbooks are being published in Bangladesh, rewriting history. The mention about India was deleted from the textbooks. Indira Gandhi's photos were removed, and they also said Bhutan was the first state to recognize Bangladesh. In fact, it is India which was the first state to recognize Bangladesh. References with respect to Sheikh Mujibur Rahman were also removed from the textbooks, and they also said that it was Ziaur Rahman who declared Bangladesh independence through wireless. It's not Mujibur Rahman, it is Ziaur Rahman. And they started also praising the protesters in 2025. Those who died in 2024 protests, they are considered as martyrs. They are called as martyrs. Why Bangladesh has cut Mujibur Rahman and also India's role in Bangladesh liberation in the new school textbooks in Bangladesh. The Bangladesh government is making sweeping changes to school textbooks which largely erase the legacy of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, her father Mujibur Rahman, and his role in Bangladesh freedom struggle. And it also tries to alter India's leadership contribution to the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1971. The Bangladesh NCTB, National Curriculum Textbook Board, has made revision of 441 textbooks used by primary, secondary, and higher secondary students, with more than 40 crore textbooks being produced for 2025 academic year. The most sweeping changes in the textbooks include downsizing the role of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of Bangladesh, and adding other leaders who participated along with him, criticizing them, and downsizing the role of Sheikh Hasina and Awami League. This is the story. Bangladesh started historical revisionism. They are trying to rewrite the history. The other most important news that is coming up with respect to China-Pakistan friendship. China's space station to welcome first ever foreign astronaut with a deal signed to train Pakistani astronauts. So Chinese space station is going to host Pakistani astronaut. China Manned Space Agency CMSA and Pakistan Space and Upper Atmosphere Research Commission officially signed a cooperation agreement on selecting and training Pakistani astronauts for future flight missions to China's Tiangong space station. This marks the very first step of China selecting and training foreign astronauts to participate in the China space station flight missions. The signing ceremony was held at the Prime Minister's office of Pakistan. The move signifies the importance given by China to Pakistan. China's space station, you all know that, it's very, very famous, Tiangong space station, which has been operational for nearly 4 years, was built after the China was reportedly excluded from International Space Station. So now Pakistan astronaut is going to have its training in Chinese space station, Tiangong space station. Next, interesting and important news with respect to international relations. India and European Union, they are trying to conclude free trade agreement by the end of 2025 after a landmark visit. India and EU, that is the European Union, have set an ambitious deadline to finalize the negotiations for free trade agreement by the end of 2025. The decision followed high-level discussions between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen with the Minister of External Affairs. Describing the visit of Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission President, it is an unprecedented and landmark visit, and many high delegation leaders have come from European Union to India to discuss with respect to trade, digital and green economy, energy, environment and connectivity. Ursula von der Leyen, who is on 2-day visit to India, alongside members of European College of Commissioners, has visited India twice before. First for an official bilateral visit in April 2022 and again in September 2023 for G20 Leaders Summit. As you all know, from 2007 onwards, India and European Union are discussing with respect to BTIA, Broad-Based Trade and Investment Agreement. Almost this year we can see the finalization, or by next year we can see the finalization of India-European Union Free Trade Agreement. So, free trade agreement is very, very important to have good trade with European Union. As a bloc, European Union is the largest trading partner with India. As a bloc, European Union is the largest trading partner with India. Yesterday, there is a bad news from stock markets. It is called Black Friday. Yesterday is called Black Friday, bad news from stock markets. The Indian stock markets have witnessed another bloodbath yesterday, that is February 28th, with key indices crashing by 1.9%. And there was a fall of BSE, NSE and other important indices yesterday. And why this happened? Why this sudden plunge? Why this sudden fall? The reason is Trump announcing tariff wars. Trump announcing tariffs on Chinese, European goods and other goods. Yesterday there is a sudden fall with respect to stock markets due to international uncertainties. Next important news that is coming up. Indian Home Minister Amit Shah orders crackdown on networks aiding Bangladeshi Rohingya intruders into India. Union Home Minister has directed authorities to dismantle the entire network facilitating the illegal entry, documentation and settlement of Bangladeshi and Rohingya intruders into India. The directive came during a high-level meeting with newly elected Delhi CM Rekha Gupta and other important dignitaries. Emphasizing national security concerns, Amit Shah said illegal intruders must be strictly dealt with and identified properly for deportation. We should take strict actions against them, otherwise the issue will become very, very serious with respect to security. Next news that is coming up from Bangladesh. Bangladeshi students launched a political party after ousting Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Bangladeshi students at the forefront of the protests that ousted Sheikh Hasina as Prime Minister last year launched a political party on February 28th to contest elections likely to be held in the end of 2025. The launch of Jatiya Nagorik Party, which is also called as National Citizens Party, opens a new chapter of the turbulent Bangla politics, which was born in 1971 after the separation from present Pakistan. The Students Against Discrimination SAD group spearheaded the protests that began as a movement against the job quotas or reservations, but demonstrations quickly went against Sheikh Hasina. Finally, Sheikh Hasina exited from power and she came to India. Now, those students have started a political party, Jatiya Nagoric Party, which is also called as National Citizens Party. March 1st, today is Zero Discrimination Day. Every year on March 1st, we observe Zero Discrimination Day. The UN and other international organizations support this Zero Discrimination Day, which promotes equality before the law and is practiced throughout all the UN member countries. On Zero Discrimination Day, that is March 1st, we observe the right for everyone to live a full and productive life and to live with dignity. It's a global campaign that promotes diversity, tolerance, and inclusion. On Zero Discrimination Day, we celebrate and embrace our differences and stand united against all forms of discrimination to make a world where every child, regardless of their background, is accepted and should be treated equally. This day highlights how people can become informed about and promote inclusion, compassion, peace, and above all, a movement of progressive change. So, interesting news from culture. Jahan-e-Khusro Sufi Music Festival made place in the hearts of people in 25 years. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the Grand Sufi Music Festival, Jahan-e-Khusro 2025, which took place on February 28th at Sundar Nursery in New Delhi. The Grand Sufi Music Festival is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year in the national capital of Delhi. Events like this are not only important for the country's culture and art, but one also feels relieved through them. The Jahan-e-Khusro program has also completed its 25 years, and in these 25 years, this program has made a place in the hearts of the people, which is the biggest success. So, in art and culture, Jahan-e-Khusro is a Sufi music festival. We should remember. So, Jahan-e-Khusro is a Sufi music festival. This is very important. And next important news that is coming up. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer to host major summit on March 2nd to drive forward Ukraine action. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has invited more than a dozen European and European Union leaders on Sunday, that is on March 2nd. He is hosting a summit to drive forward action on Ukraine and security. Ahead of the main summit, Keir Starmer will chair a morning call with the Baltic nations before welcoming Ukrainian President Zelensky, and they are going to discuss about war with Russia. And they are going to discuss about Ukrainian war with Russia. The Prime Minister, that is the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, will use the summit to drive forward European action on Ukraine, signaling our collective unwavering support to securing a just and enduring peace and a lasting deal that ensures Ukraine's future sovereignty and security. So, tomorrow, Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, is going to host a summit with respect to Ukraine. India and Japan have renewed the $75 billion bilateral currency swap agreement, India's Reserve Bank said on a statement given on February 28th. The bilateral swap agreement is a two-way arrangement where both countries and authorities can swap their local currencies in exchange for the US dollar. The Bank of Japan and Reserve Bank of India signed an agreement with respect to this. The size of the particular bilateral swapping agreement is up to 75 billion US dollars. A new report that is coming up from World Bank. A new World Bank report which was released on February 28th said that India needs to grow by 7.8% on average over the next 22 years to achieve the country's aspirations of reaching high income status by 2047, a target that is possible to achieve. So, if India wanted to become high income country by 2047 by Viksit Bharat, by 100th year of its independence, every year on an average India should grow at 7.8%. That is not an unachievable target set by World Bank. The new India Country Economic Memorandum titled Becoming a High Income Country or Becoming a High Income Economy in a Generation finds that the target is achievable and possible. recognizing India's fast pace of growth, averaging 6.3% between 2000 and 2024. The World Bank report noted that India's past achievements provide a foundation for its future ambitions. Our past achievements provide a foundation for our future ambitions. So, getting into high income group is not an unachievable task said by World Bank group. That is also an important thing. An unpleasant news that is coming up from Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky. Zelensky visited America yesterday. The meeting between American President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House witnessed the two leaders clash before world's media over the war with Russia. Donald Trump, American President, and Vice President J.D. Vance laid into Zelensky, saying that he showed disrespect, driving relations with Ukraine, most important wartime ally, very, very low. An agreement between Ukraine and US to jointly develop Ukraine's natural resources, which Ukraine and its European allies have hoped to usher better relations, was left unsigned. It was unsigned. In fact, I can tell you, American President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky clashed in an extraordinary words and shouting at an Oval Office, that is White House, leaving the efforts to end the war with Russia hanging in the balance. You are either going to make a deal or we are out, said Trump furiously. Donald Trump was very furious and said, you are either going to make a deal or we are out. We are not going to help you unless you make a deal with Russia. Unless you end the war, we are not going to do that. And even the deal with respect to natural resources, critical minerals, was left unsigned with Ukraine. In front of world media, they both clashed. They both clashed. It's an unpleasant news that is coming up from Oval Office, that is White House. Okay, coming back. India's real gross domestic product grew 6.2% in October to December. India's real GDP, gross domestic product, grew 6.2% in October to December 2024 period, the third quarter of the fiscal year, picking up the pace from 5.6% growth recorded in the previous quarter. Now, India is showing 6.2% growth. Okay, this is a thing that is coming up. We are showing good GDP signs, and futuristic trends are also very good with respect to India, and rising government and consumer spending contributed to 6.2% growth. Rising government and consumer spending. On demand side, recovery in consumption growth, government expenditure and export growth looking encouraging. So, consumption increased, government spending increased, export growth also looking encouraging. For all these reasons, we can see GDP growth is good. GDP growth is good. Let's see how it's going to perform this year. ISRO's Aditya L1 mission unlocks solar flare secrets with new image. India's first dedicated space-based solar mission, Aditya L1, has made a groundbreaking observation as one of its scientific payloads has captured the first ever image of the solar flare kernel. The Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope (SUIT) payload has captured the image in the lower solar atmosphere, the photosphere and chromosphere. ISRO said that this observation and associated scientific results mark a major step towards understanding the sun's explosive activities and its impact on the earth. So, this is very important. According to ISRO, on February 22, 2025, the Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope, also called as SUIT, on board Aditya L1 observed an X6.3 class, solar flare, which is one of the most intense categories of solar eruptions. So, you can get a question, what do you mean by solar flares? You can get a direct hit question in prelims. What do you mean by solar flares? Solar flares are the giant explosions on the sun that send energy, light and high speed particles into the space. They are the giant explosions on the sun that send energy, light and high speed particles into the space. Fortunately, humans have nothing to worry about the solar storm and watching the solar storms. Solar flares cannot pass through Earth's atmosphere to physically affect humans on the ground. Recently, a research told solar flares cannot pass through Earth's atmosphere to physically affect the humans. A solar flare is a tremendous explosion on the sun that happens when energy stored in the twisted magnetic fields suddenly explodes. So, humans need not worry about solar flares. ISRO's Aditya L1 mission unlocks solar flare secrets with a new image. This is the news that is coming up from Science and Technology. You might get a direct question on solar flares. For that reason, I have explained this.